So, welcome students. Welcome to the second lecture of the Unit 2, that is Introduction to Microbial Diversity. In yesterday's lecture, I have gave you a brief description about what is microbial diversity and what do you mean by it, and what are the categories of microbes you can study with, and also I gave you a detailed knowledge about what is genetic diversity, what is species diversity, what is ecosystem diversity. And I have told you that I will be dealing with the term specifically about the term microbiome. What does the term microbiome means? So basically my aim in this lecture will be to deal with microbiome and a few related terms to it, and let's see till how much we can study in this particular section. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first, before starting, what does the term microbiome means? In yesterday's lecture we have studied the term microbiome. So yesterday I told you that I will be dealing with this term specifically. A dedicated slide will be given to you where I will teach you about microbiome. So anyone who is having difficulty in understanding the term microbiome can easily understand that. I have given here the definition that microbiome is the entire community of microorganisms. Whatever microorganisms it can be, I have also told you about the term microorganisms, that it doesn't only deal with bacteria, but it deals with archaea, fungi, protozoa, viruses, etc. that lives in a particular environment. Here comes the word environment. So, microbe, not only microbe, when we are dealing with microbe plus its environment, then we are together talking about the microbiome. Together we are talking about the microbes or microbiome. Okay, together we are talking about the term microbiome. So this is actually microbiome, where we are talking about microbes and environment. So and with that we have to keep in mind about the genetic material and interactions also. So genetic material and interactions also plays a role when we are talking about microbiome. So it includes together microbes with environment, and with environment it includes two factors with it, that is the genetic material and the interactions. So if anyone is having difficulties in understanding the term microbiome, they can easily understand what it is. It is actually the entire community of microorganism along with their genetic materials and the interaction that microorganism is playing with the environment. So in short, if we tell that what is it, or if I just tell you a short description, the term microbiota is the organism themselves, that is the living microbes, and the microbiome is the organism with their genes and with their environment. So together with the organism, genes and environment is the microbiome. So here I have also divided the names, here I have also divided the definition into different terms, so you can easily understand, or whenever I hit you the term microbiome, you can understand, okay, it's organism, genes and environment, together all three. So what are the examples of microbiomes? You can tell from the previous slide we have already studied about different microbiomes. First comes the human gut microbiome, where there are trillions of microbes that helps in the digestion, immunity, vitamin synthesis. There is the soil microbiome, which is the microbes that helps in the recycling of nutrients present in the soil, which can degrade organic matter, fix nitrogen. And there can be marine microbiome, where this is actually the aquatic microbiome which they are talking about. These are the microbes that regulate the carbon and oxygen cycles of the water. Then let's move on into the importance and role of microbiome. Let's move on into the role and importance of microbiome. Now, microbial diversity, as I told you, is essential for health of our planet. Our planet's health is very much dependent on the microbial diversity. More the diversification of microbes, more will be the planet considered as a healthy planet. And also for all the living organisms, microbes are generally responsible for countless vital processes, including nutrient cycling, ecosystem stability, bioremediation and human health. So altogether microbiome is also dealing with all these factors, that it is helping in the nutrient cycling, where microbes are the primary drivers of biogeochemical cycles. Whatever biogeochemical cycles I will be teaching you, that is the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, and the sulfur cycle. So these biogeochemical cycles I will be teaching you in another introduction, in another video lecture series, where I will be talking about different kinds of cycles, and I will teach you each cycle in a descriptive manner. They decompose the organic matter, making the nutrients available for plants and other organisms. Then, if we talk about ecosystem stability, you can understand from here that it is a diverse microbial community that provides functional redundancy. Now, what does this term functional redundancy mean? This functional redundancy term meaning that if one species is affected by a disturbance, other species can take over its role, ensuring the ecosystem remains stable and resilient. So to keep the ecosystem keep on going and running in a in a particular manner, we have to keep on going. So if one species is not working or is affected by some reason, then the ecosystem should not be affected. The ecosystem should keep on going and should keep on working and be it in its functional state. So there should not be any functional redundancy. So it provides a functional redundancy, meaning that if one species is not working, the other can start working. So this will help in maintaining the ecosystem and keep the ecosystem stable. Then if we go into the bioremediation, in bioremediation we can see that microorganisms can be used as a cleanup tool. It can be used as a cleanup tool um, for environmental pollutants such as oil spills or contaminated soil, a process which is known as the bioremediation. Then we are studying about the human health. The human microbiome, particularly in the gut, plays a critical role in digestion, immune system function, and overall health. A diverse gut microbiome is often associated with the healthy individual. Often, a healthy individual always contains a diverse gut microbiome. Always a healthy individual contains a diverse gut microbiome. So basically, in importance and role, we will be dealing with all these kinds of factors. Now, coming into why this classification is needed, why the classification is needed, or why do we need to classify, or why are we studying about the introduction of microbial diversity, and if there is microbial diversity, there should be a classification system. Now you should be thinking that without classification, what would have happened? If there would be no classification system, then also there would have no problems. But no, if you think of trillions of bacteria, not only bacteria, containing other organisms, containing other microbes as well, starting from fungi, bacteria, viruses, etc., if classification was not done, then organizing them was would have been a difficult job, or it would have been impossible. So for that, classification is needed. So classification is basically the process of arranging living organisms into groups or subgroups based on their similarities and differences. Okay, it's a fundamental concept in biology, serving as a way to organize. We have to organize whatever it is, not only about the living organisms. Now we are teaching, I am teaching you biology, so I am talking about living organism. Anything in your system, in your, even in a cupboard, if you're staying in a room, your cupboard should also be organized in a way so that you can find the things. So in case of living organisms also, we need some kind of organization so we can organize the things. The immense diversity of life on earth that we have, that needs to be organized. And the science of classification, the study of classification, or the science of classification, is known as taxonomy. The need for classification arises from the staggering number of different species on our planet. On our planet earth, there is a staggering number of different species. Now they are telling you that imagine trying to study or communicate about the millions of known organisms. You know the names of organisms. Now imagine of dealing with these millions of known organisms without a standardized system. Now imagine you didn't have any classification system, or you didn't have any standardized system, then what would have been the difficulty coming in your way? There would be no standardized system and you would have been messed up. Classification is essential for several key reasons. What are the reasons? They help to organize the information. That is, it provides a systematic way to manage and study the vast amount of information about different organisms. Then, by classifying an organism, if you classify an organism, you can instantly know its relationship to the other organisms. Now, if you keep a particular dress in a particular shelf, then you know that you are keeping that kind of dress in that particular shelf. So this is the basic criteria of classifying an organism. You exactly can know that okay, this organism is related to the other organism, so for that reason it is classified into a particular group, and some of its general characteristics. Okay, then to facilitate identification, for the identification purpose also, we need to classify organisms. It allows for the easy and accurate identification of new or unknown organisms. If there are any unknown organism, it helps to classify them and identify them by comparing their traits. I yesterday told you in yesterday's lecture that traits are the characters to those of the known groups. You can compare them and you can know which organism is what. Then, to understand the evolutionary relationship, how did the organism evolve? You can know the evolutionary relationship if you classify the organism. So here it is telling that classification is not just about sorting. It is not just about sorting the organism and keeping into different shelves or racks. It's about revealing the evolutionary history of life, to discover the evolutionary history, that from which ancestral uh, tree or ancestral phylogeny did the organism come. Then organisms are placed in the same group often, which shares a common ancestor, as I told, and the hierarchical system reflects how life has diversified over millions of years. This helps in tracing the lineage and the evolution of species. Then, to provide a universal system, obviously there should be a universal system which everyone will follow. If there is a system which is applied in India, and if there is another system which is followed in USA, then in UK, then in Europe or some other places, then it would be a problem. So there should be a universal system which is followed worldwide. So there should be a universal system, accepted system of naming and grouping organisms, which avoids confusion caused by local or common names. So common names and local names often provides a very misconception or misunderstanding in people if we use this common name, because these common names can vary from places to places. So this allows scientists worldwide to communicate clearly and precisely about the same species. So for this we need a particular name which can be used by the scientist worldwide. So for this, what did they do? They did the biological classification. Now what are the principles of biological classification? If I come to the principles of biological classification, classification means that we can arrange the living organisms into groups. We can arrange them into groups that they can be studied more easily. Scientists follow some basic principle. They follow some basic principles, like for example, they classify the organism, for specifically the biological classification. First, they look upon into the shared characteristic features. Organisms are grouped together based on similar features. Organisms are grouped based on their similar features. Similar features organisms are kept into particular groups. Example, like all bacteria which lacks, we know, the true nucleus, they are grouped as prokaryotes. Now, example is that all fungi have cell wall made up of chitin, so they are grouped under fungi. Okay, you got the idea? So the key idea is that the similar traits equals to similar group. Whatever characteristics you will have, we will place you into that group. So coming into another, this is the uh, classification order or pattern which the biological classification system follows. That is, first comes the kingdom, then comes the phylum or division, then comes the class, order, family, genus, species. So these are the seven categories of biological classification. So this is the hierarchy of categories. So this is the classification. For example, they have given you kingdom is, for example, the country, state is the phylum, district is the class, street is the genus, and house number is the species. So this is specific for specific cases. So for example, if we talk about Escherichia coli, then the kingdom is bacteria, phylum is proteobacteria, it comes under the phylum of proteobacteria, the class is gamma proteobacteria, and the order is enterobacterialis, family is enterobacteriaceae, genus is Escherichia, and species is coli. Okay, so key idea, from big group starting from kingdom to very specific, that is species, it can be classified. Now coming into the third one, which is a very important one and which is also included into your syllabus, is the binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature is nothing but a two-part scientific naming system where we include the genus name and the species name. We include these two names and we try to name the species, or we try to name an organism. For example, the rules are: the genus should always be capitalized. First letter should be capitalized. First letter should be capitalized, and the species should be always in lowercase, such as Homo sapiens. You got it? Homo sapiens. This is the genus and this is the species. In this genus, we have capitalized the H, and here S is in the lowercase. Names are italicized or underlined. If you are not italicizing, you have to underline the names. Okay. This avoids confusion from local or common names. Example, like for example, if we tell about tiger in English, or example, if we tell as bag in Hindi, both means Panthera tigris. So these are the common names, but scientists will be referring into as Panthera tigris, which will include tiger also, bag also, because this is a common name. So common names are not beneficial in any cases. So we need this kind of scientific names. So universal naming system is the key idea. Now, natural relationships. We also get an evolutionary basis from here, where we understand the modern classification which reflects the evolutionary relationship or the phylogeny. Organisms with a common ancestor are placed close together. And if I talk about the examples, human and chimpanzees share more amount of DNA, so they are classified closer than humans and bacteria. So instead of keeping humans in close association with bacteria, they are kept in close association with chimpanzees, because they share more amount of DNA. Okay, they share more amount of DNA. And fifth one is the universality, which is the system must be accepted worldwide. It should not be accepted in a particular region or particular place of the earth. It should be accepted worldwide, so all scientists can understand each other. That's why Latin is used as a dead language that doesn't change. It is called as the dead language, meaning that this Latin cannot be changed. All the names you give, all the scientific names you give, you have to give it in a Latin. You have to give those names in Latin. So Latin is considered as a dead language. For example, a bacterium called Staphylococcus aureus will all be recognized by this name in every country. Key idea is to use the same language for all scientists. Scientists will speak the same language. For example, in case of scientific names. So early classification attempts, this one we will start into our next lecture. Till this we just understood that how namings are done, how naming classification is done, and why classification is important. So in the upcoming videos we will be studying about the early classification attempts, and we will eventually move into the Whitaker's five kingdom classification. So till then, if you understand my videos and if you like my videos, then do hit the subscribe button and also like the video. And don't forget to comment, and also don't forget to comment which video you want for me to do the next. Otherwise I will continue with this lecture series, and apart from that I will make the dedicated video if you want some. And for admissions you can call into this number or WhatsApp it, and this is the dedicated website where you can go and take your admissions. Batches are starting soon, so okay, so let's meet you into another lecture series. Till then, take care.